Hello and welcome to Mr. Alvarez's virtual chemistry classroom. Today we'll be learning about Table F, Solubility Guidelines for Aqueous Solutions. On page 2 of your chemistry reference tables, you'll find Table F. But Table F is really two tables, so we cut it in half. On the left side are the substances that are always soluble in water. Soluble. On the right side are substances that are never soluble in water. Insoluble. Let's start on the left side. On the left side, the first thing that comes up is group 1 ions. That is your lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. They are always soluble in water, they'll always dissolve in water, and they have no exceptions. Similarly, ammonium, which is on table E, a polyatomic ion, is always soluble in water, no exceptions. Nitrate, on table E, always soluble in water, will always dissolve in water with no exceptions. Acetate, which can be written either way, as either C2H3O2- or CH3COO-, is also always soluble in water, no exceptions. Hydrogen carbonate, same thing, always soluble in water, no exceptions. And chlorate, always soluble in water, no exceptions. However, when we get to halides, which is another word for halogens, which is another word for group 17 ions, on group 17 on the periodic table, your fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, acetine, they're always soluble in water except when combined with either silver, lead, or mercury. Sulfate, also on table E, is soluble in water unless, except when combined with silver, calcium, strontium, barium, or lead. So if it's in this column, they are insoluble. On the other side, you have substances that are always insoluble. Carbonate, chromate, phosphate, sulfide, and hydroxide are always insoluble in water, except when they're with these substances. So if you see the substance in this column, that means it's soluble. This is a double negative. It's insoluble unless combined with one of these elements or ions. So carbonate, insoluble, except when combined with group 1, which makes sense because group 1 ions are always soluble, or ammonium, which also makes sense because ammonium is always soluble in water. Chromate, similarly, insoluble unless with group 1, ammonium, but also with calcium, magnesium. So if you have calcium chromate or magnesium chromate, that will be soluble, a double negative, which means it will be soluble. Phosphate, similar to carbonate, insoluble unless with group 1 or ammonium. Sulfide, same thing, insoluble unless with group 1 or ammonium. And finally, hydroxide, insoluble unless with group 1, ammonium, or calcium, barium, or strontium. Over here, I have some practice problems. First one is lead iodide. Now, I cannot find lead anywhere on table F, so I look at iodine. Iodine is in group 17, a halide or a halogen. I see that iodine is soluble in water unless combined with silver, lead, or mercury. So where halides are normally soluble in water, when you put them with these three, they become insoluble. So lead iodide is insoluble. Number 2, ammonium chloride. I see ammonium here. No exceptions. I don't have to look any further. Ammonium chloride is always soluble. The third one, sodium chloride. Once again, I see sodium, always soluble. No exceptions. I don't have to look any further. If I wanted to look further, I could find chlorate, and chlorate is also always soluble with no exceptions. The fourth one, I see lithium, once again, a group 1, always soluble. I could check the halides. Halides are soluble unless with silver, lead, or mercury. Not one of those. Lithium is not one of those 3. So this is also soluble. NH4CO3. I see that ammonium is always soluble, no exceptions. However, I also see carbonate on table F. I go to the right side, I see that carbonate is insoluble. However, it's insoluble unless with group 1 or ammonium. Since I have ammonium, that makes this soluble. This is an example of a double negative. Carbonate is insoluble unless with one of these substances, which makes this soluble. Aluminum phosphate. You're not going to find aluminum on any of the left columns on table F, but you will find phosphate. I start on the right side, so I'm already thinking insoluble. Phosphate is insoluble unless it's combined with group 1 or ammonium. Aluminum is in group 13, so it does not fit either qualification. So aluminum phosphate will be insoluble. Finally, barium hydroxide. Once again, not going to find barium in either left-hand column, but you will find hydroxide. Hydroxides are insoluble, so I'm already thinking insoluble. Let's look at the exceptions. With group 1, barium's in group 2. So group 1, calcium, barium, strontium, or ammonium. So while hydroxides are normally insoluble, when barium is with hydroxide, that will make it soluble. Thank you very much for joining me on this virtual chemistry lesson on table F and solubility. I hope you learned something today. Have a wonderful day.